Hey, welcome to a basic tutorial how to set up a server for Colonies and Technologies, a dedicated server specifically. The first thing you need to do is download Forge. So you can just Google Forge server download. That should take you to Forge files. So specifically version 1.20.1 in this case. Now you need to go find out what the specific version is you need to download. So to do that, I've using Prism Launcher for the Modpack. So if you go to Edit on your instance and you go to Version, you'll notice here it shows what the Forge version is for the current version, whatever version you want to host. So in this case 47 to 30, then we go there, we say show all versions, we look for 47.2.30, here it is, and then we go to the installer. We'll have to wait for its advertising, and then it should start downloading. There we go. And then we go and we can just run this file. Let me just create a different folder for this. Say my server. You can just double click it to run it. This will need to run with Java. Let's see if we can find it here. Well, that did nothing. So if by any chance you struggle with the same issue, you can open this with the console. So if you right click here, you say run cmd, and then you can say cd to change directory, and right clicking will paste it immediately. You can say java -jar, and then you can specify your file name. If you just push F and you push tab, then it will already spit out the rest of the file name. And then you push enter, and it should start this Forge installer. So you specifically want to say you want a server installed, and then if you browse here, let's go to this. Let's create a subfolder installed, or let's say specifically maybe v52, because that's the version of the modpack that we are setting up now. So let's go to that, and then we say okay, and it should install some basics. It will only install like some files that can be run for the first time, but I'll be back soon. Okay, now it's done with its download. We can say okay. We go back to our folder, and here you can see there's this run bat file. It's a .bat file, and if you double click on that, that should now generate the EULA, which is an agreement that you have to agree with first. It'll also say in this message here soon, you need to agree to the EULA, and we can go to the EULA.txt, and here you can see the URL. Go to this website if you want to read through the whole details. I'm not going to show it here now. And then if you agree with that, you can say true, save the file, and then rerun the bat file. If you run it now with the EULA agreed upon, it will generate a vanilla server. And after the vanilla server is generated and is running, that'll show us that everything so far is working fine. But then we'll stop the server, we'll add the mods, and there we go. So now the server is up and running, but this is just a vanilla server running. So after it prepared spawn, I'll close the server again. Right. So there are three things we want to delete from this one, and this is the config and the mods. This is because we'll be replacing it with that from the modpack. And so to get it from the modpack, we go to folder. That's right clicking there, and we go to folder. Then we search specifically for config, mods, and scripts. So if you copy these three, and paste it in there, and then it should work. Now the world that's generated is a vanilla world, so you might want to replace the world with your own world, and it doesn't need to be called world. So if you want to see where your worlds are usually, if you go here and you say folder, there will be a location saves. I haven't created any new worlds yet from the client, but you would usually get it here if you have a single player world that you want to copy. Then you copy that folder and you can paste it in the server root directory. And if it's not called world, your single player world or whatever world you pasted, you go to the server settings, server.properties. Let's edit that in Notepad. And there is a section that you can search for here, level name world. So just replace that with the exact folder name of the world that you copied. Another tricky thing to find is this max tick time. The reason I'm mentioning this is sometimes when you switch to a different dimension for the first time and your server is not that strong, then it might take a while to generate that dimension for the first time. I've seen this happen when going into the end. Sometimes I've seen it happen going into the nether. This is a very large modpack, so it's very possible to happen. And then you just change this value to 0, and this will disable the server watchdog from crashing the server when it's taking too long to load stuff. And if that is saved, then you can launch your server and then you can also join it. Okay, now that the server is running inside our client, we can go to multiplayer and it should show up as a LAN world. Then we can join. And we can get started. Cool. So should you perhaps want to host your modpack on one of the public servers, for example, CreeperHost or Bisec hosting, then you'll have to use at least 8 gigabytes of RAM as an option, and you'll have to then also just upload, through FileZilla or whatever, all of these files to whatever they had. You just delete all of their files and folders, and then just upload this. And if you in the future, if the modpack updates and you want to update your server as well, remember the key folders are config, mods, and scripts. It might, however, also happen that the modpack changes Forge version to something more new. Then you'll have to go through the whole procedure. You'll notice it by going to your version tab over here, and you'll see this version tab will be different. And then just download whatever the new version is here in the Forge Minecraft Forge net.